poking us from that gorse. It's just magic. Look how vibrant it is. We have no prairie to slice a big sun at evening. Everywhere the eye concedes to encroaching horizon. The words of Seamus Heaney. I'm here in the Boglands of County Offaly, and here we have a landscape that is similar to the great prairies of the world. It's our raised bogs, and indeed that sun does slice the horizon all around. It reminds me in a way of Holland, the flatlands of Holland I remember visiting, and the one thing that struck me was the size of the sky as the sky bent into the horizon. Now I've literally walked 20 yards across from the rich heather, the lichens, the sphagnum moss on top of the raised bog. And I've come over to an area, huge area, stretching for maybe a mile to that horizon, where Bord na Móna has extracted the peat on an industrial scale. And this has happened over the past, since the 1940s here in Ireland, resulting in our bogs, our raised bogs, being largely destroyed. Over 90% of our bogs are now gone. And the biodiversity and the carbon sink that we have just 20 yards beyond here. And this is where I'll be practicing the macro photography. As you can see, this area is lifeless. And we go back to just beyond the last ice age. The whole central area of Ireland was covered in one enormous lake. As temperatures warmed, the water level decreased, and we have, in effect, what we have today, many lakes in the Midlands of Ireland. The increased temperature encouraged life. So at the bottom of the peat stack here, 10 or 15 metres below my feet, we have silt from that original lake. And then as the water dropped, life came. We had reed beds initially, and those reeds over millennium lived and died, and the peat is really comprised of layers of those reed stems. Eventually, the top layer that we see here now, and we can see it just to the left here, is comprised of sphagnum moss. Without that plant, these bogs would not have the range of biodiversity that they do today. I've come at the start of the year, mid-April, and there's very few plants flowering at the moment. But one that does flower early is the Bog Rosemary. I have noticed the Bog Rosemary here in flower, and that is the first photograph we're going to take today. Well, the little clump of Bog Rosemary that I find sheltered from the bright sun beneath the heather here. And this photograph serves really one purpose at the moment, and that is to get my eye in. I have the little mini tripod out, the focus rail, so that I can move the camera back and forth and adjust the size of the flowers within the frame. Well, as I mentioned, intimate landscapes, such as what we see behind us here. These beautiful birches, that bright green, lime green leaves, fresh leaves from the birch, are being backlit beautifully by a very strong sun. And I've switched from the 105 macro lens to the 24 to 120, just to give me a little more bandwidth as such. Well, still not a cloud in the sky and difficult conditions to deal with photographically. But the sun, I can see it, a ball of orange, just about to dip, to split that horizon, as per Seamus Heaney. And I've continued with the more abstract shots. The bog is very dry. There's lots of lichens, very few plants, bar the Bog Rosemary. So I'm actually not sure whether I will venture out here tomorrow morning. So that leaves the question, what do we do tomorrow morning? I mean, there could be a little bit of mist around 6, 7 a.m. And it may be worth coming out and just retaking some of the shots here. Look at those birch trees, aren't they wonderful? What's even more wonderful, and I have the 24 to 120 on, and I've taken a number of shots, and I couldn't make a decision about whether to give more space in the frame to the light hitting the heather or more to the trunks here. But it was soft light, and it's the first time today I've had soft light. So I'm going to put this image, the light's gone now, but the colours are much richer. And I hope the little bit of video gives a feel for that. And I hope this image, you know, has some depth and colour and value to it. But we'll see. So until tomorrow morning, we'll put this image up, and I'm going to get back to the camper van, get a bite to eat. I need to find a park up for the night, and there it is. So on the road where I parked up last night, there was no mist. I looked out and no sign of it. But when I came onto the bog, there's a thin layer of mist. So I've come back to the image I took at sunset as the light kissed the birch trees behind me with those fresh green leaves. And I know this mist is not going to last long. There's a little warmth in the sky. I'd say the sun is about to rise now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to retake the image that we took yesterday evening, and I'm going to work my way down, working these birch trees. And then we'll switch to do a little bit of macro photography on the bog, hopefully with still a little bit of dew and that little bit of atmosphere before that sun gets up, because it's going to be another blue sky day. We may have to resort to taking the infrared camera out, but that won't be the end of the world. Well, I hope you'll agree, it's absolutely stunning here. And whilst I came to this bog to shoot macro, I may well do that now. The sun is full up now, the warmth is going out of it. I started overexposing towards the end, focusing on the two birch behind me with the fresh leaves. And it was a lovely band of fog just in front of them. I should have brought a longer lens. I have the 24 to 120 on, I have the 100 to 400 in the car. But how did I know I would not be shooting macro and I'd be shooting birch trees this morning? It's just that conditions favoured this type of photography. But that's not to say there are no treasures beneath my feet here. We've got the heather and the lichens. I'd love to find some of those devil matchsticks. I have a spider web to the left of me. So whilst the sun is up, I may now start looking for macro subjects. But by God, I've really enjoyed this. The bird song all around. I forgot my gloves, my hands are frozen, and I can see the mist in the distance. It's lingering. But it's great to be up, it's great to be out taking photographs, and it's a great time of year, mid-April. So there it is. I'm going to put a few of the images here. I'm going to process them, and I'll put them up there, my favourite ones, just from the past 30 to 40 minutes. And we'll move on then to whatever the next subject may be. Well, I'm only starting macro photography now this morning. I took a wander through the wood here, quite beautiful, lots of mosses, but nothing jumped out to photograph. So I've just come to the edge of the wood now, onto the bog, and found a damp area because there's not many. It's very, very dry, as I mentioned yesterday. I found a little spider's web here. Just a web along the floor on top of sphagnum moss, and one little stalk of heather has broken through. I've brought, there it is, the height of it, the mini tripod, the magic ball, and the slide rail. But in all fairness, the type of photography here requires none of that. It really requires you to get a little bit soggy. I have a pair of waterproof pants where I've placed my knees on, and that's really it, placing the camera on the ground. It's a very simple scene, and it's really what I came down here to photograph. Well, yesterday afternoon, when I stepped on that barren peat dust, acres and acres of it stretching to the horizon, and the lifelessness of it, and when you compare what we photographed this morning, the staghorn lichen, the little twig of heather, and I found the devil's matchsticks, and I would have put that photograph up, I think, just before this little segment. And I kept an eye as I drove along the road here and moving to another bog for vast tracts of lands and the chance of seeing some of the gigantic machinery that was used to extract the peat and destroy the sphagnum moss and the heather and the beautiful plants that I have come down here to photograph. So I pulled over, had my breakfast here, and this is an industrial site here. It's full of, we've old railway tracks, we have it's like a tank. A huge tractor-like device. I've never seen anything like it. with the caterpillar wheels. And this device here and a few other devices. So it was a good excuse for me to take out the infrared camera and my trusty old 14 to 24mm lens. A beautiful lens, so sharp. Far superior, in my opinion, to the 14 to 30Z that accompanies the Nikon Z8. But regardless, let me get back to the subject. With the foliage behind here, I've taken the 14 to 24 and taken some infrared images of these gigantic machines that we see. And there's, I think, of 1, 2, 3 here in this industrial site. I also paid a visit to an old derelict cottage, and I was conscious that although it was necessary, and it's a fantastic thing that we have stopped the industrialised scale of peat extraction here, but it would have affected the livelihoods and the families of the people living in the area. And I looked online and read a few articles about the impact it has had. There's a little derelict cottage not half a mile up the road, and I stopped there again with the infrared camera and just to take an image of that, and it paints a different picture. It's a different angle of the raised bogs here. So let's move on to the next bog and we look for more of that beautiful macro life. Well, I can't believe the heat, and there still isn't a cloud in the sky. This could not be Ireland in mid-April, but it is. And it's not ideal for any type of photography, bar the infrared. But I've come out now to Ferban Bog. It's beside the town of Ferban here. Not a soul out here, and I've walked along the edge of the woodland, hoping that I might get some of the last scarlet elf cups, but I've had no luck at all. So I came out and I found a lichen attached to a little, I think it's a Scots pine twig. And it's the first thing in half an hour that's really grabbed my attention. But I needed to use the diffuser here. So I have the camera set very low down, and I'll play a little video of the lichen itself. It's kind of on a cross, it is. And the effects of adding the diffuser and removing the diffuser, because it makes a huge difference. And it means that a simple device like this enables us to take macro photographs on a day such as this. But I'm not one for the hot weather, and I'm going to retreat, I think, to the van and see what I'll do for sunset this evening. I did see a peacock butterfly. I had a brimstone earlier on, but the insect life is here. There's beetles around, but everything's very active. So I'm really not sure what the next step is. I feel the vlog is coming to a close, but I'm not ready to conclude it just yet. We'll see what else is out there to photograph. But I really like this lichen, very unusual. Well, not only did I retreat to the van, I also retreated home. The blue sky day got the better of me. So I hope you've enjoyed this vlog on the Raised Bogs of County Offaly in Ireland. And if you did, please like and subscribe. Drop me a comment.
And why not join me next time when I'll be attempting to capture a spring woodland in my home county of County Wicklow. So until then, thanks very much for watching.